Nicholas, a $378,000 a year salary, a platinum pension of $150,000 a year, and a $206,000 a year expense account for life. Can you walk me through the outrageous perks that Governor General Mary Simon is raking in from taxpayers?
Well, yes, for sure, Carson. And to be very fair, it's not the first time that we hear about all of those luxurious perks that Rideau Hall has been offering to its occupant. In this case, it's the case of Mary Simon, but this tradition has been going on for quite a while. But yes, indeed, Mary Simon, the Governor General, has access to a salary of $378,000 a year. She has a pension, a full-time pension, as soon as she leaves office, which is after a 5 years mandate of $150,000 a year, plus an expense account of up to $206,000 a year, up to 6 months after she's deceased. And that's the same case for every other governor general that were in office before.
Wait,
That
Nick,
would
Nick,
include
Nick.
Julie Payette. That was, yeah.
There is no way I just heard you right. I'm sorry, I need to jump in, but there is no way I just heard you right. This expense account, it continues
Yes.
until after the Governor General is dead?
Yes, you would be right, and that's quite surprising. So we
What?
pay for them even when they're not among us anymore, and obviously we want those people to live as long as possible, like anybody else. But the truth is, as soon as they leave this world, this expense account is still at the disposal of their heir. So basically their families can actually use that account, mainly, I guess, to cover those funeral expenses that would come afterwards, and other kind of expenses that can still be billed to taxpayers. So yes, that's quite incredible. I don't think there's any other office in this country that offers such a privilege. But yes, this is among the many perks that the Governor General have to their disposal.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. An expense account for 6 months after you die, all paid for by yours truly, the taxpayer. But Nick, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the royal perks that our governors general enjoy. And I want to talk about a few really specific scandals with you. I understand that our governor general has rather expensive tastes when it comes to airplane food. Can you talk a little bit about the governor general's in-flight catering bill? Because I think this, it's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and it was one of the top story that the Canadian Taxpayers Federation digged in 2022, 2023. That story actually happened when the Governor General and their delegations were flying into the Middle East in March 2022, and over a single week, they spent approximately $100,000 in food on the airplane. So that's a lot of food, yes, and you would expect the kind of very typical food that anybody like us would actually eat when we're taking the plane. But no, it was more like filet mignon or all type of pastries and the stuff that you can find at the highest luxurious restaurant. But it was on air, and it was all on the taxpayers' bill. So sadly, yes, this is just one of the many scandals that we have dig over the last years. But $100,000 for a delegation that was basically between 40 and 50 people over a single week. That's inconceivable. And actually, that was the start of many interrogation that actually reached the House of Commons, because even the Committee on the Government Expense Operations actually had to bring some kind of recommendation to cut the expenses of the Governor General when she's traveling around. So of course, like this tradition, like we say, has been going on for quite a while. It's not strictly against Mary Simon, but yes, this is a kind of privileges and scandals that the Governor General can go with without having to give any answers back to the taxpayers.
Yeah, and I think you hit on something really important there, Nick. This isn't about Mary Simon. This is about a culture of waste at Rideau Hall, which is costing taxpayers a whole heap of money. Another scandal that caught my eye just because of how ridiculous it is, $71,000 worth of limo charters for what was it, a 4-day trip in Iceland? Is that right? 4 days?
A little bit less than 3 days, actually. It was a very short trip, but yeah, you actually have a very good point. That was one of the top scandals that we also did at a CTF when she traveled in 2023 to into Iceland. I think it was in October for actually it was for 70 hours. And the reason why I came up with this number is because I realized that yes, it cost taxpayers $71,000. Well, not, and that's just for a part of the travel. That's not the whole cost of the travel itself, but the governor general and their delegation billed taxpayers $71,000 for ICE limos, also known as simply limousine services in Iceland, and so but only for a 70 hours travel. So basically $1,000 an hour for a limousine that were used, and that's the worst part. They were literally staying at an hotel that was approximately 700 meters away from the conference center where they were supposed to go. So instead of walking like most individuals, or maybe they could have literally billed us at like the BMW of the year and drop it at the airport, and it would have cost less to taxpayers at what they billed us for. Like I said, not even a couple of minutes of travels between the conference center and the hotel where they were staying. So that's again another kind of privilege that the governor general can slip to taxpayers, and we were stuck with the bill at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So $71,000 ish on this luxury limo service for a 70-hour trip. So $1,000 an hour for a luxury limousine service for our governor general when she was in Iceland. Like you just said, Nick, she could have bought a brand new BMW, driven it for those 70 hours, left the keys in the ignition at the airport, and still saved taxpayers money. But Nick, there's a silver lining at the end of this cloud, isn't there? Because we just got some brand new polling from our friends at Leger, one of the country's premier pollsters, that shows Canadians are getting sick and tired of paying for these outrageous perks at Rideau Hall. Can you walk us through some of that brand new polling from Leger?
Yes, you're quite right. It's quite a silver lining to realize that Canadians are more and more waking up to the fact that those luxurious perks at Rideau Hall have been costing them millions of dollars every year, and that's without even mentioning the scandals and all that. And people are realizing that it's really time to put an end to it. And what we just found, thanks to a poll with Leger, is that approximately 49% of Canadians wants to cut the governor general budget. To that, you have 19% of Canadians who believe that we should just keep it that way. There's still a 13% of Canadians who said that we should increase that budget. I really want to have a discussion with those people, to be very honest. But there's still a 19% of Canadians that were not exactly sure about it. But overall, if you take only the Canadians that really had an opinion on this matter, it's 60% of Canadians who wants to cut the governor general budget, which in 2023, 2024, the last budget year that we were able to obtain from the governor general office, cost us taxpayers 36 millions of dollars. That's 36 millions of dollars for all of the perks, for all of the scandals, for all of the luxury that are not just disconnected from the reality of Canadian taxpayers, but it's also the fact that it's a very symbolic institution. And at this point, I think it's only fair that a symbolic institution would come with very symbolic pay and not a $378,000 salary with all the pension, the platinum pensions and other perks that are quite really, I would say, disrespectful to the taxpayers that are paying that bill.
Yeah, and folks, we have barely scratched the surface here. I was writing a story and looking into the Governor General's perks, and it's everything from like paid dry cleaning services, because that's good value with taxpayer money, a clothing account. Yeah, the Governor General spends tens of thousands of dollars buying clothes and then expensing you for it. They built a new bar at Rideau Hall, where the Governor General's residence is, and it cost $8 million. I'm from Saskatchewan. My partner's from Abbotsford. I've seen a few barns being built in my day. I don't think I've ever seen a barn costing $8 million, but I guess they do things differently over in Ottawa. Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. Any last thoughts?
Yes, well, you mentioned the clothing that the Mary Simon or the Governor General has been billing us, and actually, yes, I think it's worth to add to the top of all the scandals and stories that we have dig that actually the Governor General has access to an allowance of $130,000 for to buy herself or himself some clothes for the entirety of their mandate. So $130,000 for the Governor General wardrobe, and the reason why we learned that is because the CTF we made some access to information to understand what was going on regarding the spending for clothes. And we realized that Julie Payette and Mary Simon billed taxpayers $117,000 in dry cleaning services over the span of approximately 4 years. Now, just to put that in perspective, I just want to remind people that they do have a staffer army at Rideau Hall that are actually some of them are literally in charge of cleaning the clothes, and yet we still had to expense so the $117,000 again on taxpayers' bill so that we could obtain dry services outside of Rideau Hall. And that's added to on the top of the list of the clothing allowance and other kind of luxurious perks that really should not be there anymore. So yes, there's so many things like you said that we could add to the whole story, but I think that the last thing I could add to all everything that we have exchanged so far is that I encourage our followers to go to our petition asking to rein the Governor General's perks. It's one of our most massive petitions. It has been working so far. The heat is really growing, and we expect the Governor General to eventually see our budget being cut in due form.
Hey, you've heard it here, folks. If you want to stop some of this outrageous luxury living at Rideau Hall, all paid for by yours truly, the taxpayer, head over to taxpayer.com/petitions and sign our Cut the Governor General's Perks petition. The Governor General is living like Marie Antoinette, while Canadians are losing sleep wondering how they're going to continue afford putting a roof over their head or meals on their table. Thank you so much for joining us, Nick.
Thank you for the invitation again, Carson.